Right, we are live now. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Hola, hola. Hola a todos. Esto es Open Enchilada, versión criptos. Vamos a el día de hoy hacer un evento especial. O bueno, es un experimento también. Tenemos a los amigos del podcast Monero Talk. Hello, Doug.
Hello.
Hello, Douglas.
Hola.
How are you? Hola.
Good, man. ¿Cómo estás? That's the extent of my Spanish right there.
Yes, I know. Don't worry.
I should know Spanish, man. I live in New York. It's like literally spoken more than English around here. And I wish I was fluent in Spanish because I feel like I miss out on so many opportunities to have really good connections with people. So maybe next time. I don't know.
Yeah, next time. Don't worry.
Sunita's a fluent Spanish speaker.
Hola, Sunita.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Fluent.
Bien, muy bien.
She's half Puerto Rican, so
I know a little Spanish.
She knows her way around the language. Well, thanks for having us on.
Thank you for joining us. Regularly, we have more people on these sessions, but I suppose that today is Mexico Independence Day. Well, it was yesterday, but I suppose everybody's on a hangover, so they didn't connect.
Well, we're having some mezcal right now.
Oh, really? Oh, that's great. Cheers. I didn't bring mezcal. I bring, it's a Mexican craft beer. Salud.
Where are you in Mexico?
I'm in Mexico City. Regularly, this is where I am. We run this podcast, Open Enchilada, and we decided to come with a cryptos version. Regularly, the original Open Enchilada is more like talking about hacking stuff. Actually, Doug, you and I, we met during DEF CON. You were running this wonderful coffee shop. You guys got the best coffee. I have to tell you that I'm very too much into coffee, and awesome. Yours is very good.
Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it. Not everybody appreciates good coffee.
Do you think that? Yeah, probably you're right.
Well, you're in Mexico. I think, you guys have a higher standard there. Over here, people are drinking Folgers for the most part and Dunkin' Donuts.
Right. Yeah, that's true. So you guys run this podcast about Monero. I was thinking that maybe we can start by letting you introducing yourselves, letting us know what is the reason what is the expectation that you have by running this podcast. And also, I suppose that you guys also would like to talk about Monero. So please.
Yeah. That's literally the name of our show, Monero Talk, or one of our shows. So should we go ahead and introduce ourselves?
Yes, please.
My name's Doug Tuman. I run the Monero. I'm the host on the Monero Talk Show. This is Sunita Chakraborty. She's was behind the scenes up until recently. Now she joins me on our other show, Monerotopia, which there you go.
Wow, awesome.
We have two shows on our channel.
I'm on that show.
Monero Talk is where it's a long form interview show where I take on one guest at a time and I kind of grill them on crypto. I bring on a lot of BTC maxis, talk about the differences between Bitcoin and Monero, and I also bring on a lot of Monero developers and people in the Monero space. And we have serious interviews there. And then we have Monerotopia, another show. That one's live, kind of similar to your show here. It's live, and we open it up to anybody that wants to jump on the platform. We give them the link. We put it out there to the community. And basically, it's just an open discussion, a weekly open discussion with the Monero community, people from noobs to experts coming on, talking about the latest issues in crypto and Monero.
Oh, that sounds cool.
More than happy to talk about Monero itself. Yeah.
Yeah. We are always interested into cryptos here, right? Everybody now is talking about Bitcoin in Latin America. I mean, probably Bitcoin is the most widely cryptocurrency known, right? But I've been looking into Monero for some time, and I really think that you guys have, the Monero project has a lot to offer. So maybe can you share with our audience what is your opinion into Monero, right? Why do you think it is a good crypto to get into, not only as an investor, but also what I understand is that you guys really put too much privacy at first with Monero. So maybe you can start explaining that.
Yeah, 100%. Sunita's probably thinking, "Oh boy, he's going to talk for the next 30 minutes here." So I could talk about Monero all day, but the short, I'll try to get to it as quickly as I can. I mean, the way I look at crypto is basically, it's what I believe its most important use case is digital cash. So this, cash for the internet, this ability to pay somebody peer to peer without going through a centralized third party, where you can't be censored, you can't be stopped, and nobody knows who's sending what to who and how much. That's what digital cash is in my mind, and that's what I think the original invention was and what they set out to achieve with Bitcoin. But I think Monero has proven to get closer to that ideal of digital cash than Bitcoin has currently achieved, mostly because of the fact that Monero, also like Bitcoin in that it runs on a decentralized ledger, Monero's ledger is obfuscated. So you can't actually see the transactions taking place. You don't even know the addresses. We can get into that, something called stealth addresses. You don't know who's sending it, and you don't know the amounts that are being sent. So, I'm sure you're familiar with the concept of looking up somebody on the Bitcoin blockchain, and you can literally see the wallet, and in real time, you can see transactions happening, going from wallet to wallet, and actually see the amounts. With Bitcoin, same basic concept of using blockchain technology, but it has some added, or a lot of added math and cryptography that allows it to function in the same way where there's no double spends happening, but you can't see any of the transactions taking place. And essentially what that does at the end of the day is, one, it provides the users privacy, but I think even more importantly, on a technological level, it provides fungibility. So digital cash, as we know, is fungible. Fungible means, it's this concept of one unit equaling another unit, right? So gold is fungible, right? Every atom of gold is the same as every other atom of gold. Diamonds aren't fungible. Every diamond is different from every other diamond. They're non-fungible. Everybody's kind of learning these terms now with the advent of non-fungible tokens. But we're more interested in the fungible aspects. So this idea that $1 always equals $1 in Monero, 1 Monero always equals 1 Monero, because in Monero, no coins have a history attached to them. You can't view the coin and see its history on the blockchain. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can view any Bitcoin address and see all the transactions that have previously happened. Thus, there's a history essentially attached to Bitcoins. So a virgin Bitcoin has a blank slate, no history attached, whereas a Bitcoin that's been sent around quite a bit does have a history attached. And where that becomes a problem is you can see where the Bitcoin was coming from and who it's coming to. And you may, or it would be wise to attribute more value to a virgin Bitcoin, one that was just mine, versus perhaps one that came from somebody who's on a watch list for terrorism, right? That's on some blacklist somewhere, right? You're probably not going to want to receive that Bitcoin. And in Monero land, we think that's fundamentally a problem. Obviously, people, there's arguments to why traceability might be good, right? For stopping crime and things like that. But on a technological level, if you want to create something that allows for the free flow of commerce on the internet, that allows people to communicate peer to peer, you're going to want fungibility exists so that every unit equals every other unit and people can communicate value seamlessly.
Wow, that was what hell of an explanation. You're already sold me into Monero. It is great. I mean, the way I see it, I am the type of guy that I run some of my computers on Linux, and the first thing when I got into cryptos is looking into the Bitcoin domain that you are able to set up and look into that, and that's exactly what you are describing, right? The vibe that I got when I looked into the Bitcoin daemon on the Linux command line was kind of like having my own personal Bloomberg terminal for like looking in the transactions and seeing all this flow, like what you're saying. But in the end, it's also true that I am looking into all these transactions without anything anything to do at all. It's just like by funny, right? And what I understand is that Monero also provides a secure tracing in the end, because the transaction, yes, it does happen, but there is no way that an external is going to be able to trace that. And even with that situation, you are able to have some level of security. So the funds that you get from Monero, they do not come, because that's also what everybody's hitting right now when cryptocurrencies, right? That probably the drug dealers are using, or terrorism, right? You guys are in New York, of course, terrorism is a big thing for you. But here, us in Mexico, drug dealing is also a big thing, right? Everybody's concerned that cryptocurrencies are being used by the drug lords to clean some money, right? And that's a fact. So what I understand is that you guys put some type of security mechanisms to avoid that circumstances, right?
Security mechanisms to avoid which circumstances?
Yeah, like receiving funds. You mentioned receiving funds from a terrorist or a drug lord. So you have certain level of confidence in the funds that you are receiving in Monero. That's what I understood.
Well, no. So with Monero, when you receive funds, if you're sending me Monero, I obviously I know who you are as an individual, right? You're sending me Monero. I don't know anything about the Monero. That's the whole point. Is you don't know what its history is. So maybe before you sent it to me, it came from a drug lord that sent it to you for whatever reason. But I wouldn't know that, and that's built into the technology. And we think that's good, because governments and corporations at the end of the day shouldn't be able to analyze the history of blockchains that are trying to act like digital cash, because essentially it allows them to start to have an effect on the freedom of commerce, right? And it starts to allow them to potentially censor people. And that's really the heart of what I believe crypto was about. It's about creating this ability for people to communicate value peer-to-peer without being stopped in any way. And so you want the version of that that's going to be the most unstoppable. So censorship resistance is a term that gets thrown around a lot in crypto and Bitcoin. So this idea that nobody can stop you from sending a transaction, the network is going to process it. In Monero, there's a lot of things built into the network that allow that to be done, perhaps in even a better way than Bitcoin can do it. And we can get into that. The other idea is just the idea of not being able to surveil, right? So in addition to censor, is just being able to view the chain, right? So there's these large chain analytics companies that currently that's what they do. They analyze the Bitcoin blockchain. A lot of them are funded with millions of dollars, often by perhaps the same people that are behind the banking industry. And these companies have the ability to track and trace all crypto transactions. And it allows corporations to benefit off that, because now they can use that data to their advantage. And it also gives governments the ability to potentially control the network, and at the very least surveil the network. And we're over here in Monero land, we're big proponents of creating something that's not only censorship resistant, but it's also resistant to mass surveillance.
Okay, now I get it. So you guys are a blockchain like Tor, like the Tor network, but the concept is on the blockchain.
Yes. And we think that's a very powerful idea and what the real invention is behind crypto. People talk about Bitcoin as being digital gold. That wasn't until, a few years in that meme started to spread around. Originally, I mean, the title of the Bitcoin papers, a peer-to-peer, what is it, transaction network or cash network?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Satoshi paper, right?
Described as, digital cash is what the aim of Bitcoin was. It evolved into more of this being digital gold when people realized, well, it wasn't actually that great for transacting, is number one, right? Like the incentive really isn't even to move your Bitcoin around, because the more people that do that, the more clogged up the network becomes. It becomes very expensive to send transactions as more transactions are sent on Bitcoin, and it doesn't become very practical to send around. The second thing is it's not very practical to send around as cash, because it's completely traceable. So as people realized that Bitcoin had those kind of flaws, it kind of pivoted to become this thing called digital gold. And in my opinion, it doesn't really even do that too well. Yeah, an electronic peer-to-peer electronic cash system. But it doesn't really function as cash, right? So when I send you, if we were in Mexico, and I took out some pesos and passed them over to you as cash, you have no idea where those came from, and you're going to accept them for whatever they are. You're not going to question it. You're not going to, hey, Doug, I don't know about that $100, peso bill you gave me. No, you're accepting it because every version equals every other version, and that's what cash is. And when I give it to you, and whatever you give me in return for it, that's not recorded anywhere. That transaction happened just between me and you, and there's a lot of power there. It empowers individuals to transact, and trying to mimic that on the internet is extremely difficult problem. Trying to mimic this concept of me being able to reach through the computer and pass you a bearer asset that you now have that nobody else knows about is extremely difficult to do, especially when it runs on a network that everybody is using together. And unfortunately, the first version of it, Bitcoin, doesn't do it well enough because of its transparency.
Okay, I see. This is interesting.
It is going to now translate all this in Spanish. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. I think the guys will watch this anyway. But it's interesting. No, actually, it's funny what you are saying, because I never thought about it that way. Because suddenly, right now in Latin America, and I suppose everywhere in the world, everybody's talking about what countries like El Salvador is doing right now, right? That they are trying to use Bitcoin as an electronic cash system, and it seems that there are a lot of challenges. But I mean, besides what you are saying, but also all the experiences that probably you guys have heard that is happening on right now with the Chivo wallet. Today I was reading a news that they are having a hard time in El Salvador right now to try to run transactions that are less to $5. And in an economy like El Salvador, not being able to run that type of transaction, of course, doesn't make any sense. So it is interesting what you are saying. What do you guys think about this situation with El Salvador?
Well, I think it was exciting to see a country attempt to adopt cryptocurrency as legal tender. I don't like the way in which they're doing it, which is basically they're mandating it and forcing people to have to accept it. So I'm not a big fan of the kind of the coercion. It should be adopted because it's the best form of money, and that's why people should want to use it. It shouldn't be done through mandate. The second thing I don't like about it is all the privacy implications. So the way it's being done, it's not being done in accordance with the ideals of crypto once again. So everybody's using that wallet that was created by the government there in partnership with what's the Litecoin, the Lightning Network wallet? Strike, right? In partnership with Strike. I don't know all the details,
okay.
but basically, it was government created, and it's done in such a way where you don't hold your own Bitcoin keys. It's custodial. Everybody that wants to use it, that's going to get the free $30 worth of Bitcoin that they're giving out, needs to essentially provide their identification, because they need to prove that they live in El Salvador. They're providing their phone number. And so everybody's opting into this digital cash utopia called the Bitcoin system, but doing it in a way where they're all identified as they opt into it. And then they're all using a custodial app to basically zap around numbers on a custodial ledger. It's not through the Bitcoin network. So it's no longer has the attributes of Bitcoin at that point. They're using a custodial app where people aren't even sending Bitcoins back and forth. And like I said, now all their transactions are basically potentially viewable, and we know the identifications of the people, and leading to this kind of doomsday scenario where governments can now surveil on a almost perfectly perfect level, right? So even better than what they've ever been able to do, right? So if you can move everybody over to this system, wow, isn't that great? Now that provides governments this additional power, really, right? So it seems a little hypocritical that it's kind of being sold as a movement towards crypto and Bitcoin when it's being done in this way. Now, Bitcoiners will tell you, okay, well, there are other options for people. They don't need to use the government-funded app, and this is just the first step. So sure, let's give it a chance based on that. And overall, I think it's a step forward for crypto. I just don't like the way it's done. And from my perspective, my hope is, well, maybe this eventually leads to people making these realizations on their own and then using the technology in a more idealistic way, and then maybe eventually moving into something like Monero.
Oh, that's great. So what I understand is that probably we can interpret this situation in El Salvador like some type of authoritarian implementation of the ideals that we have with cryptocurrencies, right? So this is the government understanding this utopia or cointopia, if I might say, and that's the way they understand it, and they added the government surveillance and everything that probably it's against the core concepts in cryptocurrencies like Monero.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the most, it's the reason why, that's so important is just because of, these concepts of liberty, right? And to be able to essentially prevent tyranny from governments. We're obviously moving in this direction, but for the invention of cryptocurrency, things seemed really dismal, right? We're all onboarding to these digital platforms that are centralized and controlled by a few individuals in Silicon Valley and elsewhere that have all this power, that essentially end up being in cahoots with the governments because they become powerful people that end up influencing the governments, especially here in the United States. And it leads to a very dangerous scenario where you have very powerful corporations, Google, Facebook, that are controlling our data and controlling our ability to communicate. We saw this with the recent presidential race here in the US, where the president at the time, President Trump, got deplatformed from Twitter and Facebook. I mean, that's incredible that something like that happened in the United States. And well, the reason is those are private companies, so they were essentially able to get away with it. But the concerning part is, while they are private companies, they're becoming these kind of public venues. So they're private companies, but they've become public venues, like a
utilities, right? Like
right,
electricity.
like the town square, right? So the traditional town square. And in the United States, there's the freedom of speech, the freedom of assembly. People can get together, and that's near and dear to the core values of this country, because what it allows for is it always allows a minority opinion to potentially flourish if that opinion had enough value to it, as opposed to that minority opinion being stomped out. That's why there is freedom of speech, right? That's why there is freedom of assembly, allowing these dissenters to come together and congregate and work together. And if their ideas do have value, they eventually spread beyond that and become the minority opinions. But when you live in a society where the minority opinions can be stomped out, it becomes a problem. That's what leads to tyranny. And that's the kind of the current direction we're on, not just in the United States, but in a lot of parts of the world because of these technologies. And with crypto, the hope is that it can be the solution, because at the end of the day, it is decentralized. So there is no central party that can, wield that power and use it in a negative way.
Yeah, that's cool. Recently, I finished reading this book, the Deficit Myth. I don't know if you guys read it. Let me show it. You really guys need to read it.
Oh yeah, I don't know that.
Do you know about this one?
No, I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just finished reading it. It's from an economist that used to work with the Democrats in the Senate, no, in the chamber, I think. And she explains what is the discussion that is going on in USA about the deficit. But what really stuck in my mind is this concept that happens with the US dollar everywhere in the world. Right now, because of my job, I used, before COVID, I used to travel to different countries. And what I realized is that at the cash level, the US dollar is the most potent currency that exists today. And you guys are aware of that. I mean, you guys, USA, the Treasury, and the Fed, because they know, and I think that the situation that has helped the country to navigate the COVID is because you guys can just generate more money because the power that the US dollar has, right? And that's the way I understood it from this book. If I want to translate this to my understanding with different cryptocurrencies, right? And also what you just explained with Monero is that in the end, you have this common asset or common currency in the end that everybody is accepting. And like cash, everywhere around the world, you are able to have this anonymization into your own data based on the power of the US dollar, right? I mean, I am talking about a completely different thing with cryptocurrencies, but it's interesting that it's a concept from the fiat currency that you also mentioned, right? I don't know if I'm making myself clear with this.
Yeah, no, I'm picking up on it. I got to check that book out for sure.
Sure, you definitely need to. And in the end, the interesting part is that the cryptos, they have the potential to be these generators of values, right? Mm-hmm. So far, the way I see it also, the people like the big investors, like Warren Buffett, they say, oh, the cryptocurrency, they do not necessarily give you any value, right? And that's because that guy, he's a value-driven investor. Mm-hmm. He's looking on a profit and losses from a balance sheet from a company, right? And that's the way he also does his due diligence. The way I see also is that the same way as everybody on the world gives the US dollar its currency power because we are using, so it's not only the Treasury who has the power, it's also us who gave the money this power, and that's the potential that we have with cryptocurrencies like Monero. I don't know, what do you think about this?
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, fiat by its name, fiat means it's essentially mandated by the government. It has value because they say it has, but like you said, it's acquired. It's really become to the point where people just believe it has value. And there's no reason why people can't come to believe something else has value. Especially something like Bitcoin or Monero that has these certain attributes where it would make sense for people to attribute value to it. Just like gold, right? That's why the comparison to gold is a good one. Gold doesn't have value by mandate by any government. It's just through time, humans have decided to value it because of certain properties that it has that make it unique. It's fungible, it's durable, it's scarce. These are things that gave gold its value, as opposed to something like seashells, right? It's not random. So I look at crypto that same way, and then I try to look at the attributes of it and see which cryptos have attributes similar to that, where it would make sense for that one to have value versus another. Like, why Bitcoin and why not Dogecoin, or why Monero and why not some other crypto? And really what it boils down to is these attributes that make it gold-like in digital form or cash-like in digital form, really the same thing at the end of the day. And at its very heart, something that's decentralized and unstoppable. I feel bad with that I dragged Sunita in on this convo here, because I thought we'd be speaking Spanish, and I could.
Yeah, that's fine. We can speak Spanish.
Do you mind if Sunita gives, just because I think she wants out, because we have our show tomorrow, and I have her working overtime.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Well, Sunita, maybe you could just in a little bit in Spanish just talk about our shows and about what we do, and just let them know, where to find us, just to...
Well, we do it in English, I guess, right?
No, do it in Spanish.
No, en español está bien. En español está bien.
Ok, pues el show de nosotros se llama Monero Talk, que ahí consiste perdone mi español, no es perfecto, pero...
No te preocupes, el de nadie es perfecto.
El de nadie, pero de acá. Y tenemos otro show que se llama Monerotopia, que yo también comparto el stage con él, que es una vez a la semana, como Monero Talk, que es una vez a la semana. Y nada, nos pueden encontrar en Twitter, Instagram y en YouTube, Monero Talk y Monerotopia. Y también tenemos otro proyecto que se llama Gratuitous, que uno puede mandar una propina a otra persona al otro lado del mundo. So, actually, nosotros fuimos para Guatemala en marzo. Quizás él va a hablar más de eso. So,
sí. De hecho, quería, justo estaba a punto de preguntar.
¿Verdad? Tú viste cuando estaban en DAFCON, ¿verdad?
Así es.
A Guatemala conocimos a 18 trabajadores en la finca de café. Y le dimos cada uno una billetera de Monero. Y cada uno, 18 de los trabajadores. Y ahora, si tú visitas la página gratuitous.org, uno puede comprar por ahora, porque vamos a seguir añadiendo productos. Pero si quieres comprar una bolsa de café, que es delicioso, porque tú lo tuviste, ¿verdad? No estás mintiendo, es delicioso. Puedes mandar una propina a los trabajadores directito, con cualquier billetera, pero nosotros usamos K-Wallet, que es una billetera, ¿cómo se dice? Bien trusted en la comunidad de Monero.
Segura,
segura, y tenemos mucha confianza con él con el producto, porque es bien bueno. Y nada.
That sounded good to me. I heard key words there.
Otra vez.
Yeah.
Español.
Oh, nice.
No problem.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. I mean, we started with just. Can we play the video? Can you play our commercial?
Yes, I think I can.
You got the commercial, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose it is there, or where?
On YouTube.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can talk and I can look for the commercial.
Yeah, so it's it sounds like Sunita explained it pretty well, but
you can do it in English.
Yeah, but we can wait.
Right now, we started with one product, and it's coffee. And it's from this farm in Guatemala, in Antigua, Guatemala, as Sunita explained, and they make really good coffee. And we went down there ourselves, and we hooked up like 18 farmers, I think it was, or workers at the farm. We spent a week down there. We got to know them, and we taught them about Monero, and then we gave them their own Monero keys, seeds. Paper wallets is what the term that's used in crypto. So a lot of these guys, they didn't even have cell phones. They didn't have computers at home, but they have a piece of paper. And so we generated private seeds for them. They wrote it down. They wrote down their 25 words. We give it to each of them. We explain the concept, and we explain that people in New York and all over the world that drink the coffee that we're going to be selling, which is their coffee, are going to be sending them little pieces of digital gold. Then it's going to go to this code, something that's associated with this code, and they'll have control of it. It's kind of like a little piggy bank where they'll be collecting these propinas, these tips from around the world for people that enjoy their coffee. So we sell the coffee and we put barcodes on it, and we do just that. We let people send tips in Monero, and it gets split up among these 18 workers on the farm. And then gratuitous, the coffee is really just the first product, and it works, but the idea is much larger, and we want to start teaming up with existing brands and companies. Maybe we add it to the mezcal we're drinking here.
Trying to get that.
Tip the mezcal farmer.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, yes. we teamed up with we're trying to team up with a fashionable shoe company in New York City that imports their shoes handcrafted from Mexico, actually. So you'd be able to tip the shoemaker. You buy a $200 shoe, you're wearing that thing every day, you appreciate it. Maybe you could send the guy $5 worth of Monero. And the beauty of Monero is the transaction fees are extremely cheap. So, even if you send 50 cents, you can, it's like a half cent transaction fee. You send $5, same thing.
Guys. That's
you want to put the sound, actually.
You can play the sound. I'll let you play it because it does explain it really
I don't know how to share the sound.
Oh, okay. Okay, no worries.
Yeah, maybe our audience can just look into the video.
Yeah, they could just look it. They could find it. They could Google it. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Cindy. I forgot to even mention gratuitous. So that's a real passion project of ours. And we're just looking, anybody that's listening that's interested in the idea, that wants to help out in any way or get involved, please reach out. If you want to repeat that in Spanish, because we're looking to add new products, figure out new things. We wanted to add like cacao, start selling, that here. You could tip the farmers there. So the products that we could add are endless. Any product that kind of fits that metric of being something that's sold for a decent price, that's often created by people that don't really get paid too much on that side of it. So here's a way for the end consumer to send a thank you, to send a tip directly to the hardworking people that made that product possible.
Wow, that's a great product. No, really, I'm already bought into you guys. you have great coffee, and that's the only thing that you need to buy me. But even that, the way I see this is very cool, because right now you are allowing all these people who do not necessarily have a benefit for being part of the supply chain in these products, like the commodities, like coffee. I mean, coffee right now is kind of like a commodity everywhere, but there is all these hardworking people, right? You also mentioned things like cacao or even mezcal, that they do not necessarily have a good representation on the supply chain, right? Mm-hmm. And by using Monero, and also what I like about the project is that you guys also thought about the technological challenge that is going to be for some of these people, because of the conditions that they live, to gain access to this. So you find a way to cross this gap analogically, which is cool, right? Not everything needs to be digital nowadays.
Yeah. And it works. That's the beauty of crypto, right? This private key thing where it's like literally you could hold it on a piece of paper and you have your crypto. It's mind-blowing when you think about it. And if you think about it, there'd be no way to do this concept without cryptocurrencies. So we're trying to show a powerful use case, beyond purchasing drugs on the dark web or ransomware payments. Here's something very powerful and positive that you can do with crypto that you wouldn't be able to do without it. There'd be no way for me to drink a cup of coffee in New York and send 50 cents to the Guatemalan farmer that picked those beans without cryptocurrency. I can't reach through across the world and throw him 50 cents. I can't send it in the mail. I can't use PayPal or Venmo. He probably doesn't even have those things. And I can't use, whatever money transfer service that has 10% fees. There's just no way.
Union.
Yeah, Western Union. There's just no way to
fees.
do it except with crypto.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying it was a great experience because they kind of some of them understood and some of them didn't. We actually did end up getting one of the guys from the farm to come on one of our Monerotopia shows, the other shows that we did. And yeah, he's just really grateful and like happy, and he he understands and for the most part, and is like talking to the others.
Yeah, he was a little more advanced. He does have a smartphone, and he's younger guy.
But like knowing that he understood it, like he was able. Like in the beginning, sure, there were a few that were like, "What is this?" Like even when we were talking to them, they're like, "All right, you're crazy," but
money without paper. What's that?
Yeah, they're like, "What is this?" Yeah, they're like, and then like slowly, like this guy, like he probably he started talking to them and he explained it to them, because they don't have to do anything. They just have to hold on to their private keys. That's it. So
yeah, this guy went a step further and he downloaded a wallet, a Monero wallet on his Android, Cake wallet, and he imported the 25 seed phrase, and he saw his Monero was there and he sees it coming in. So he's excited. He's very excited by it. He gets it. And then he's also seeing the price, it's, they may get tipped over time. They've already been sent hundreds of dollars collectively, separately. Maybe it's like something like $30-$50 a person.
But it's good money. It's good money.
Yeah, over time, that's going to go as we sell more coffee. That's going to go up, and also as the price of crypto potentially goes up, that could be a nice little nest egg, like Sneha said.
So you guys sell the coffee in New York in any physical place, or you just distribute it?
We sell it online, and we'll send it anywhere. We have people in Europe that order our coffee. We send it. Obviously, we have to charge them
a
little more shipping, but we ship it anywhere essentially.
We let them know, and if they're okay with it, some people are like, but some people are like, okay, sure.
Yeah, but it's very good coffee. It's worth the pay. Yeah.
And then I do sell it on the street sometimes.
Really? So you go in the street and sell?
Well, in New York City, I set up a stand. In Brooklyn. In Brooklyn, I do it. In Greenpoint, I've done it around Williamsburg. I'm going to start doing it again now that it's gotten cooler out. Now it's a beautiful time of the year here in New York. So I'll be doing that on the weekends and actually probably during the week soon as well in the mornings. And you go out there. And what's great about it is, first of all, New Yorkers love coffee,
That's true.
and New Yorkers in Brooklyn, the hipsters, I don't know if you're familiar with the hipsters, they like things that are cool.
I have a couple of friends that live in Brooklyn, so yes, I know what you mean.
So when they see you out there doing a pour over in the street and you're listening to some cool music, they're going to inevitably come over and say, "What's this?" And then, they taste the coffee. They think, they think it's great. And they sell a cup of coffee, but I also then end up explaining to them the entire concept. So it's a great way to teach people about it, because I have their kind of attention and sell coffee at the same time.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe I should try the same.
Yeah.
Selling on the street is a great idea, actually, because you get the attention from the people, right?
Right.
And then you talk to them about it. Yeah.
So yeah, we could hook you up with gratuitous coffee. You could sell it over there.
Sure, definitely. I can help you with that. I'm sure that there will be some business that will be interested into that. Great. So we are almost running out of time. We regularly try to do this for about 45 minutes. So thank you, Doug. Thank you for your time. Thank you for being here. Muchas gracias por conectarse también. La verdad es que estamos muy contentos porque hayan estado con nosotros el día de hoy. I don't know if you guys would like to share your final thoughts into what is your, besides all these projects that are wonderful, what is into the future for you?
Well, it's really the projects, so I literally I work full-time as an engineer, civil engineer over here in a local municipality. And it looks like I'm going to be leaving that job because I recently just got funded by the Monero community. I put up a CCS fund.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. I asked them to basically kickstart me. for 6 months. So they're
That's cool.
me. Yeah, they sent me 240 XMR. I told them, and everything that I was going to do. It was a very long proposal. I basically laid out milestones saying, we're going to try to do this with the Monero talk show. We're going to try to do this with Gratuitous, and explained how all these things will ultimately, I believe, benefit the Monero community, because it will essentially help grow the Monero community, because we're essentially doing marketing at the end of the day with our shows, and with Gratuitous, we're spreading Monero. So, unfortunately, that is the most interesting thing. There's nothing about me other than that right now. And so my goal is to
me being Kickstarted it's very exciting. So it's great.
I am thrilled. I mean, I've worked in traditional industry for 18 years, essentially my whole life. I'm 40 years old, and now I'm finally doing a passion project. So
great.
I'm going off, and hopefully we'll see where we stand in 6 months. Hopefully it gets to the point where the projects are then sustainable on their own, and have enough revenue where we can just continue to do this.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure. ¿Y usted, Sunita, qué le espera el futuro? ¿Qué le depara?
I mean, igual, a seguir con el proyecto. No, igual, porque él es que va a seguir trabajando full time en Monero. Yo voy a seguir trabajando, pero también me gustan todos estos proyectos, y yo lo estoy haciendo todos los días, y me encanta, y seguir adelante con estos proyectos, y así es.
Qué bueno. No, muchas felicidades. Congratulations again.
Gracias.
This is a great show, and I watch a couple of episodes, and I think I'm going to still keep watching it.
Awesome.
And thank you guys for being here today.
Yeah, maybe we'll meet you in person. Because we're planning on going down to Mexico for.
We've actually been there already twice.
Yeah, really? Sure.
Para Mexico City, Acapulco, Guadalajara.
Vámonos para Acapulco cuando usted
Guadalajara,
diga. También.
Guadalajara, a Comila y Manzanilla. Estuvo bello.
Sí, por allá todo es muy
bello.
We're dead serious about the mezcal, so we're gonna
si
have to go down there for that reason.
alguien tiene conexión con una finca de mezcal, por favor, mándale un...
Sí, por ahí tengo un par de conexiones que les va a interesar. Les voy a comentar, por supuesto.
Sí, gracias. Y usted también, cuando tú quieras, puede venir al show de nosotros, Monerotopia, que lo hacemos una vez a la semana, y puedes venir a hablar y hanguear con nosotros, con la comunidad de Monero.
Genial. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Sunita. Gracias, Sunita.
Muchas gracias.
Que estén muy bien.
Gracias.
Hasta luego.
Bye.